You've been searching for something your entire life, and the cruelest truth, you already have it. You've always had it. But no one taught you how to see it. There's a quiet ache inside you. You might not even notice it. Most days it hides beneath your routines, your ambitions, your scrolling. But in the stillness, late at night or in the spaces between tasks, it surfaces. A whisper that says, something is missing. You don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's love, maybe success, maybe clarity or purpose or peace. You think if you could just find the right relationship, the right career, the right version of yourself, then you'd feel complete. Then the ache would stop. So you chase, you work harder, you seek validation, you optimize, improve, transform, you fill your calendar, your mind, your home with things that promise wholeness. And still, the feeling returns, like thirst that no water can quench. This isn't failure. This is the human condition. We are taught from the earliest age that life is a problem to be solved, that we are incomplete by design, that somewhere out there, beyond this moment, beyond this body, beyond this breath exists the missing piece. And so we spend our days reaching, grasping, building towers toward a horizon that moves every time we get close. But what if the entire premise is a lie? The architecture of longing. Look closely at your longing, not to judge it, not to fix it, just to see it clearly. When you want something, truly want it, what you're really saying is, I am not enough without it. The new job says, you are not worthy as you are. The perfect partner says, you are not whole alone. The spiritual breakthrough says, you are not awake yet. Every desire carries within it a hidden belief I lack. And here's the miracle and the tragedy. That belief creates the very emptiness it claims to describe. You feel incomplete not because you are incomplete, but because you've been conditioned to look for incompleteness. Think of a child before language, before concepts, before the word mind, or more, or better. A child doesn't wake up feeling insufficient. They don't lie in their crib thinking, if only I had a different mobile, then I'd be happy. They are pure presence, pure being, whole simply because they exist. But then the world speaks, and it says you are not enough. You need to become. You need to achieve. You need to earn your place here. And we believe it. We absorb it like air. And we spend the rest of our lives trying to recover what we never actually lost. There's an old Sufi story. A man is crawling through the desert, dying of thirst. He sees water in the distance shimmering, cool, calling to him. He drags himself toward it with everything he has left. But when he arrives, there's nothing. Just sand. It was a mirage. Exhausted, he collapses. And as he lies there, he feels something cold beneath his hand. He digs. And just below the surface, hidden all along, is a spring of fresh water. This is your life. You are crawling toward mirages, images of fulfillment projected by your mind, by culture, by fear. You think happiness is in the distance. You think peace is conditional. You think you'll feel whole when you finally arrive. But wholeness isn't something you arrive at. It's something you uncover. It was always here. Buried not beneath the sand, but beneath the belief that it isn't. What you're really searching for, let me tell you what you're actually looking for. Not the surface, level things, the money, the status, the love. But what those things represent. You're searching for the feeling of enough. You want to wake up and not feel like you're behind. You want to breathe without the weight of lack pressing on your chest. You want to be here, fully, without the haunting sense that you should be somewhere else, someone else, something more. You want to feel complete. And here's what no one tells you, that feeling doesn't come from adding. It comes from subtracting. Not subtracting things from your life, though simplicity helps, but subtracting the thoughts that tell you something is missing. Subtracting the comparisons that make you small. Subtracting the stories that say you are broken and need fixing. Completeness isn't a destination. It's what remains when you stop believing in incompleteness. This is difficult to accept because the mind resists it. The mind is a problem-solving machine. It needs something to work on. If you tell it, nothing is missing, it panics. It says, but what about my goals? What about my growth? What about the life I'm trying to build? Here's the paradox. You can grow and strive and create and know you are already whole. These are not contradictions. They're layers of the same truth. A tree doesn't grow because it feels incomplete. It grows because growth is its nature. It doesn't reach for the sky to prove anything. It reaches because that's what trees do. And in every stage of its growth, seed, sapling, towering oak, it is complete, whole. Exactly what it is meant to be in that moment. You are the same. You can want more and need nothing. You can strive and rest. You can build a life and know that your worth isn't tied to what you build. This is the dance. This is the wisdom the sages tried to whisper across centuries. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You are life experiencing itself, and that has always been enough. Take a breath. Let that settle, because in the next part, we're going to go deeper into the mechanisms of the mind that keep you trapped in the illusion of lack and how to see through them. There's a voice in your head. You know the one. It narrates your life, judges your choices, reminds you of your failures. It compares you to others and finds you wanting. It tells you that you're not doing enough, not being enough, not having enough. This voice feels like you, but it isn't. It's a construction, amalgamation of everything you've been told, everything you've feared, everything you've absorbed from a world obsessed with more. It speaks in your tone, uses your vocabulary, but its script was written long before you learned to think for yourself. And its primary message, repeated in 1,000 variations, is this: you are insufficient. This is the voice of the ego. Not ego in the sense of arrogance, though. It can manifest that way. But ego as the false self. The identity built on separation, on the belief that you are a fragment rather than the whole. The ego survives by creating problems. It needs you to feel incomplete because its entire existence depends on the promise that it can make you complete. It says, just achieve this, just acquire that, just become this version of yourself, and it will always move the goalpost. Because if you ever truly felt complete, the ego would dissolve. So it keeps you searching. It keeps you hungry. It keeps you running toward a finish line that doesn't exist. One of the ego's favorite tools is comparison. It holds your life up against others and measures the gap. She has more. He's achieved more. They're happier, more successful, more loved. But here's what comparison actually is. It's violence against yourself. When you compare, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a projection. You're comparing your inner world messy, uncertain, full of doubt with someone else's outer presentation. You're comparing your chapter 3 to their chapter 20. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And even if the comparison were fair, even if you could somehow measure lives objectively, what would it prove? That you're winning or losing a game no one actually signed up for. The truth is, your life is not in competition with anyone else's. It's not meant to be. You are not here to be better than someone or ahead of someone or more enlightened than someone. You're here to be, to experience, to unfold in the way only you can unfold. A river doesn't compare itself to other rivers. It simply flows. It moves through mountains and valleys, fast in some places, slow in others, carving its own unique path to the sea. It doesn't ask, am I flowing correctly? Am I flowing fast enough? It just flows. You are the same. Your life is your river, and nothing is missing from it because it is yours. Not theirs. Yours. The tyranny of Schuld. Listen to your thoughts for a moment. How often does the word Schuld appear? I should be further along by now. I should be more disciplined. I should have figured this out. I should be happier, calmer, more grateful. Every Schuld is a rejection of what is. It's a refusal to accept this moment, this version of yourself, this exact place in your journey. And in that refusal lies suffering. Schuld implies a correct path you've deviated from. But who decided what's correct? Who wrote the rules you're measuring yourself against? Often, they're invisible standards absorbed from parents, culture, social media, the collective anxiety of a world that's forgotten how to be still. The sages knew this. They spoke of acceptance not as passivity, but as power. To accept what is doesn't mean you don't change or grow. It means you stop arguing with reality. You stop exhausting yourself trying to be somewhere you're not. When you release the Schuld, something miraculous happens. You find yourself here, and here, it turns out, is where life actually happens. Not in the imagined future where you're finally enough, not in the regretted past where you made mistakes, but here, now, in this breath. The mind loves the future. It spins elaborate fantasies. When I get that promotion, when I meet the right person, when I finally have clarity. And these fantasies feel good. They give you something to hope for, something to work toward. But notice what they also do. They make now insufficient. They make this moment a stepping stone rather than the destination itself. This is the cruelest trick of future thinking. It trains you to believe that your life begins later, that you're in a waiting room, and the real living happens when certain conditions are met. But those conditions are infinite. There will always be one more thing, one more milestone, one more version of yourself that's supposedly better than this one. Meanwhile, your actual life, the only life you have, is happening right now. It's not a rehearsal. It's not preparation. This is it. The mystics understood this. They didn't say, find enlightenment in the future. They said, wake up now. Be here now. This moment is it. Not because there's nothing to work toward, but because presence is the only place where peace exists. Here's a simple experiment. Stop reading for a moment and notice your breath. Just one full cycle. Inhale. Exhale. Did anything change in that moment? Did you suddenly acquire something you didn't have before? No. But something shifted, didn't it? A quieting, a softening, a brief respite from the mental chatter. In that moment of presence, the voice of lack fell silent. Because lack only exists in time in the past you regret or the future you crave. It cannot exist in the now. In this moment, you are simply here, alive, breathing, whole. This is the doorway, not to some transcendent state, not to permanent bliss, but to the recognition that nothing is missing because you are here fully, and that is enough. Presence doesn't require you to achieve anything. It doesn't ask you to be different or better or more evolved. It simply invites you to stop postponing your life and actually live it. You've been carrying a heavy burden, the burden of not enoughness. The weight of thinking you need to prove your worth, earn your peace, justify your existence. What if you could set it down? Not through some grand realization, not through finally achieving everything on your list, but through the simple recognition that it was never yours to carry in the first place. You are not a project. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are a human being experiencing life in the only way you can imperfectly, uncertainly, beautifully. And in your imperfection, you are whole. In your uncertainty, you are complete. In your humanity, you are enough. This is not a concept to understand. It's a truth to feel. In the next section, we'll explore what this recognition actually looks like in daily life, how to live from wholeness rather than lack, how to act from abundance rather than fear. Here's where people get confused. They hear nothing is missing and think it means stop trying, stop growing, sit back and accept mediocrity. But that's not the teaching, not at all. The teaching is this: when you know you are already whole, your striving transforms. It's no longer driven by fear or lack. It's no longer an attempt to fill a void. It becomes an expression, a celebration, a natural overflow of who you are. Think of an artist who paints not because they feel incomplete, but because they're so full of vision it must be expressed. Think of a mother who cares for her child not to prove her worth, but because love pours through her. Think of a gardener who tends their plants not because they're missing something, but because tending is their joy. This is striving from wholeness. It's lighter, freer. It carries no desperation. And paradoxically, it's often more effective because it's not tangled up in the need to be somewhere other than here. You can want things. You can build things. You can work toward a vision of your life. But when you do it from a place of knowing, you're already complete. The quality of that work changes. It stops being about salvation and becomes about creation. Imagine what your life would look like if you didn't need anything to be different. Not in a passive way. Not in a resigned, I guess this is it way. But in a deeply peaceful way. A way that says, I'm okay. Right now, exactly as things are, I'm okay. From that place, imagine making choices. Imagine engaging with people. Imagine pursuing your dreams. You'd no longer cling. You'd no longer manipulate or control or grasp. You'd move through life the way water moves through a riverbed, adapting, flowing, but never losing itself. This is the freedom that comes from not needing. And it doesn't mean you stop wanting. It means your wanting is no longer desperate. It means you can desire without attachment. You can hope without expectation. You can love without demanding. You can prefer certain outcomes without collapsing when they don't arrive. This is what the Buddhists call non-attachment, not coldness, not indifference, but a deep trust that you are not dependent on external circumstances for your inner peace. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing things to happen, they often do. Because you're no longer radiating desperation. You're no longer blocking the flow with your grasping. You're open, receptive, aligned. There's a trend in spirituality that says, just be grateful for what you have. And yes, gratitude is powerful. But it can also be used as a bypass, a way to shame yourself for wanting more, for feeling pain, for acknowledging that things are hard. True gratitude doesn't deny reality. It doesn't pretend everything is perfect when it's not. It doesn't say, you should just be happy with what you have, while dismissing legitimate struggles. True gratitude is deeper. It says, even in the difficulty, even in the uncertainty, even in the mess, I am still here. I am still breathing. I am still capable of feeling. And that is a miracle. You can be grateful for your life and want it to change. You can appreciate where you are and work toward where you want to go. These are not contradictions. The key is this: gratitude as a practice, not as a weapon. Gratitude as a softening, not as a suppression. Gratitude that acknowledges the fullness of your experience, not just the parts that look good on Instagram. When you practice gratitude this way, it doesn't bypass your pain. It holds your pain with tenderness and says, you are still whole, even in the breaking. So how do you actually live from this place? How do you remember, day to day, that nothing is missing? It's not about a one-time realization. It's a practice, a gentle, ongoing return. Here's one way. When you notice the feeling of lack rising, I need this to feel okay. I need that to be complete pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, what if in this moment I already have everything I need? Not everything you want, not everything you'd prefer, but everything you need to be okay right now. You have breath, you have awareness, you have this moment. You have the capacity to feel, to think, to choose. You are alive, you are here. That is not nothing. That is everything. This doesn't mean you stop working toward your goals. It means you stop making your peace conditional on achieving them. It means you stop postponing your life until some imagined point in the future. It means you practice enoughness. You practice feeling it in your body, in your breath, in the quiet moments between tasks. You practice recognizing it, even especially when your mind insists otherwise. When you know you are whole, your relationships transform. You stop looking for someone to complete you. You stop needing validation or approval or proof of your worth. You stop performing or pretending or shrinking yourself to be loved. Instead, you show up as you are, fully, imperfectly. And you allow others to do the same. You stop trying to fix people or change them into who you need them to be. You stop clinging or controlling. You give them space to be themselves, just as you claim space to be yourself. And paradoxically, this is when true intimacy becomes possible. Because intimacy isn't two halves trying to make a whole. It's two wholes choosing to walk together. Love from wholeness doesn't demand, it offers. It doesn't grasp. It opens. It doesn't need, but it chooses. And that choice, that free, unforced choice, is where real connection lies. The same is true for your work, your creativity, your contribution to the world. When you create from lack, from the need to prove yourself, to be seen, to matter, your work carries that energy. It's heavy, it's effortful, it's tangled up in your worthiness. But when you create from wholeness, when you make or build or share, simply because it's what wants to move through you. The work changes. It's lighter, more alive, more authentic. You stop worrying so much about how it's received. You stop measuring your value by likes or views or applause. You do the work because the work is the reward. The process is the point. This doesn't mean you don't care about quality or impact. It means you've untangled your sense of self from the outcome. You've reclaimed the joy of creating for its own sake. And often, this is when your best work emerges, because it's no longer burdened by the weight of your need for validation. Living from wholeness is not loud. It's not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It's the quiet decision to stop abandoning yourself, to stop waiting for permission to feel okay, to stop believing the story that you're not enough. It's the choice, moment by moment, to return to presence, to notice the breath, to feel the ground beneath your feet, to recognize that you are here, and that is a miracle. It's the revolutionary act of accepting yourself not as you wish you were, but as you are, right now. In all your messy, imperfect, beautiful humanity, this is the shift. This is the awakening, not to some transcendent state, but to the profound ordinariness of being alive. And when you wake up to this, when you truly see that nothing is missing, everything changes. Not because you've acquired something new, but because you finally stopped pretending you were ever incomplete. In the final section, we'll bring this home into the simplest truth, the gentlest recognition, and the invitation to rest in what has always been here. There's another story, an old one, told in different ways across different traditions. A seeker travels the world looking for truth. They climb mountains to sit with masters. They study ancient texts. They practice disciplines, undergo trials, push themselves to the edge of exhaustion. And finally, after years of searching, they return home. And there, in their own backyard, they find what they were looking for all along. This is your story. This is everyone's story. You've been searching everywhere for what was never lost. You've been reaching outward for what lies within. You've been trying to earn what was always freely given. And now, if you're willing, the search can end. Not because you've finally found the thing, but because you've realized there was never anything to find. You are what you've been looking for. Not the ego self. Not the role you play or the identity you've constructed, but the awareness beneath it all. The presence that has been here your entire life, quietly witnessing, never diminished, never lacking. You are the space in which all experience arises, and space is never incomplete, it simply is. Let me tell you the simplest truth I know. You are enough because you exist. Not because of what you've done, or who you've become, or how much you've grown. Not because you've checked the boxes, or impressed the right people, or finally figured it out. But because existence itself is enough. A flower doesn't question its enoughness. A bird doesn't doubt its worth. A river doesn't wonder if it's flowing correctly. They simply are. And in their being, they are complete. You are the same. You have always been the same. Somewhere along the way, you learned to question it. You learned to believe that your value was conditional, that you had to earn your place here, that you were a work in progress, incomplete until further notice. But that was a lie, a painful, pervasive lie. The truth is simpler. The truth is kinder. The truth is, you have always belonged here. You have always been whole. Nothing is missing from your life, because you are life itself, experiencing itself. So what happens when you truly see this? When you let it land, not just as an idea, but as a felt reality. Everything changes, and nothing changes. The external circumstances of your life might remain the same. You might still have challenges. You might still have goals and dreams and things you're working toward. You might still experience sadness, frustration, uncertainty. But the relationship to it all shifts. You stop seeing life as a problem to be solved. You stop seeing yourself as broken. You stop living in the future, where you imagine you'll finally feel okay. You begin to meet each moment as it is, not with resistance, not with the need to change it or fix it or escape it, but with a quiet acceptance that says, this is what's here. This is what's real, and I am present for it. You stop abandoning yourself. You stop waiting for someone or something outside of you to give you permission to feel whole. You reclaim your own presence. And in that reclaiming, you discover a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. A peace that's always available, no matter what's happening. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've stopped demanding that it be. This isn't a one-time realization. It's not like flipping a switch, where suddenly you're enlightened and never doubt yourself again. It's subtler than that. Gentler. It's a practice of return. Again and again, you'll forget. The mind will spin its stories. The voice of lack will rise. You'll find yourself grasping, comparing, worrying, reaching. And that's okay. That's human. The practice is simply to notice, to catch yourself, and to come back to the breath, back to the body, back to the present moment, back to the simple recognition, I am here, I am alive. And that is enough. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to do it all the time. Just more often. Just with a little more awareness. Every time you return, you strengthen the pathway. Every time you choose presence over panic, wholeness over lack, you remember a little more deeply who you are. This is the practice. This is the path. Not toward some distant enlightenment, but into the simple, profound truth of now. I want to invite you to something radical rest. Not the rest of sleep, though that matters too. But the rest of no longer striving to be different than you are. The rest of no longer measuring yourself against impossible standards. The rest of no longer carrying the weight of not enoughness. What if you could set it down? Just for a moment? Just for this breath? What if you could let yourself be exactly as you are, right now, without needing to fix or improve or justify? What would that feel like? It might feel vulnerable. It might feel strange after so many years of pushing. But it might also feel like the deepest relief you've ever known. Because you're tired. You're tired of the race. You're tired of the comparisons. You're tired of the constant, gnawing feeling that you're not doing enough, not being enough. And the beautiful truth is, you don't have to be tired anymore. You can rest, not in laziness, not in giving up, but in the recognition that you are already home. You have always been home, and nothing you could do or achieve or become could make you more complete than you already are. Beneath all the noise, beneath the thoughts and worries and ambitions, there's a quiet whisper. It's been there your whole life. It's never left. It's the part of you that knows. It knows you are whole. It knows you are enough. It knows that nothing is missing. Sometimes the noise is so loud you can't hear it. But it's always there, patient, waiting for you to turn your attention inward and listen. This whisper is not your thoughts. It's not your emotions. It's the awareness that holds all of it. The stillness that was here before you were born and will remain after you're gone. The infinite presence at the core of your being. And when you touch that presence, even for a moment, you remember. You remember that you are not the story. You are not the struggle. You are not the lack. You are the vastness that holds it all. And vastness has never been incomplete. So let me leave you with this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not missing anything. You are here, in this moment, breathing, alive, aware. And that is the miracle you've been overlooking while searching for something more. Nothing needs to be added to you. Nothing needs to be fixed. You are not a project. You are a presence. You are life unfolding exactly as it's meant to. And if you can let that truth land, if you can feel it, even for a second, you'll discover the peace you've been searching for was never in the future. It was never in the achievement, or the relationship, or the version of yourself you thought you needed to become. It was here. It was always here. You are enough. You have always been enough. And nothing is missing from your life. Welcome home.